So as I was saying before, yeah, the movie's called Renfield that Nicolas Cage is in.
Right. Okay. Oops. We were doing a Donnie.
And it's more of a comedy, I think, than anything. It's a good one, though. I laughed at it. I liked it.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage plays in everything.
Yeah,
I'm convinced the next Fast and the Furious he'll be in it.
he's taking Paul Walker's spot. So, do you want to start off with Annabelle, or do you want me to start off with Dracula?
Um, Go ahead and start off.
Okay. So, a brief synopsis, if you will. So, just for, I don't want to say clarity, but for a little more brevity, I'll stick with Bram Stoker's Dracula. The movie is based on, it's a 1992 American Gothic horror film produced and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. And it's based on the 1897 novel Dracula by Bram Stoker. It's set in the 19th century England and Romania. It follows I'm not going to use that word, vampire, who's played by Gary Oldman, who falls in love with Mina Murray, who's played by Winona Ryder, and the fiance of his solicitor, Jonathan Harker, who is played by Keanu Reeves. So when Dracula begins terrorizing Mina's friends, Professor Abraham Van Helsing, who's played by Anthony Hopkins, you hear that cast, man?
Oh wow.
Is an expert in vampirism, is summoned to bring an end to his reign of terror. And then the closing credits of the movie is the love song for a vampire is written and performed by Annie Lennox. So it's just star power all over the
Yeah,
place.
for sure.
And that's just the brief, small synopsis. There's also Brad Pitt's in the movie and Tom Cruise.
Jesus.
So if this is the one, yeah, they're both vampires also in there.
How old is this movie?
1992.
Okay.
So it's when Brad Pitt was his hottest and Tom Cruise was still everyone thought normal. So yeah, it was theatrically released in the United States November 13th, 1992. So it did. It was nominated in 4 categories for the American Academy Awards, and it won for Best Costume Design and Best Sound Editing and Best Makeup. But it was also nominated for Best Art Direction. Didn't win for that one though. So it was highly touted. So the basic plot, which is amazing, the very beginning, like I forgot about this, and it says so. The movie starts with in 1492, Vlad Dracula returns from a victory in his campaign against the Ottoman Empire to find his beloved wife Elisabetta has committed suicide after his enemies falsely reported that he had died. A priest of the Romanian Orthodox Church tells him that his wife's soul is damned to hell for committing suicide. So Vlad is super enraged and pissed off, so he desecrates the chapel and renounces God, declaring he will rise from the grave to avenge Elisabetta with all his powers of darkness. He then drives his sword into the chapel's stone cross, and he drinks the blood that pours from it, which causes him to become a vampire. So, yeah, it starts off with him in this armor. It's pretty cool looking. It's pretty badass looking armor. So then in 1897, solicitor Jonathan Harker, who is Keanu Reeves, takes the Transylvania Count Dracula as a client from his colleague R.M. Renfield, who has gone insane and is now an inmate in Dr. Jack Seward's asylum. And that's where there's a lot of spin-offs about Renfield. And I believe actually in one of the Batman movies, Renfield's actually a character in there, and he's in one of the insane asylums too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. Jonathan travels to Dracula's castle in Transylvania to arrange Dracula's real estate acquisitions in London. There he meets Dracula, who finds a picture of his fiancée, Mina Murray, and Dracula believes that she's the reincarnation of Elisabetta. So Dracula leaves Jonathan to be fed upon by his brides while he sails to England with Transylvania soil, taking up residence at Carfax Abbey. So yeah, takes this big-ass boat and has his Transylvanian soil, like the dirt in the boat, so that he can survive and everything. So then in London, Dracula hypnotically seduces and bites Mina's best friend, Lucy Westenra, with whom Mina is staying while Jonathan's in Transylvania. Lucy's deteriorating health and behavioral changes prompt former suitors Quincy Morris and Dr. Seward, along with her fiancé Arthur Holmwood, to summon Dr. Abraham Van Helsing. So that brings Van Helsing into it. and it goes on from there. I'm not going to read the whole damn plot because it's stupid. We're talking about Dracula. So, long story short, I dare you to find someone in the world who doesn't know who Dracula is or what a vampire is. So, obviously, his weaknesses are sunlight. He can't be in the sun. He I don't know if garlic is true or that's one of those things, but everyone who knows about vampires, garlic supposedly is a weakness for vampires.
Wards off
Yeah.
vampires.
Silver bullets, which is also for werewolves, but silver hurts them. A cross, any kind of cross, usually makes them burn.
Wooden stake.
Wooden stake through the heart is what they always say is the main way to kill a vampire. They don't have any reflections in mirrors. What else? But long story short, Dracula has been around then since, like I said, the movie was written in 1897, I believe.
For centuries.
Yeah, so he's been around forever. Forever. Get that reference, please. And he's just the king of the vampires. Any other vampire that's ever been created has been based on something that's been learned or a spin-off of Dracula. You wouldn't have vampires without Dracula. And like I said, 1897 when the book was written. Also, this is very interesting. People have asked, is he based on a real person or is where did Dracula come from? And there's rumors that he was based off the real life Vlad the Impaler. So that kind of leads me into my kill count. So in the novel, Dracula kill count is around 15. So I couldn't find an actual count for the movies. Like it just gave me the novels, because then it says Dracula 1931 kill count. Like I don't want 1931. I'm talking about this one. And then when I click on kill count for the Bram Stoker Dracula movie, it takes me to some Reddit thread. So besides that, what kills you see in the movie, it says 15 from the book, but he's been around for centuries. So it also says the exact count can vary depending on the interpretation of events and what is considered a kill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it a kill when he turns someone into a vampire? They're not really dead, but they're not human anymore. So that's why, how do you interpret it as a kill or not? Also, when he was this Vlad, on his war crusade before he came back, in the beginning of the movie. So like it says right here, a real-life fiend, Vlad the Impaler, this is now real life, killed 40,000 to 100,000 people, which it says in an unfathomable number at a time when murders were done singly and by hand. So also Vlad earned his nickname, the Impaler, because he killed more than 20,000 people, and then he would impale their head on a spike outside of the castles and stuff. So there was heads all over the place. So again, it's hard to get an accurate kill count because what's in the book, again, / movie is 15. But if you want to go to him being the warlord before he became the Dracula or became the vampire, and then again, do you count all the people we turned into vampires as kills or just they're the undead now? Like, how do you, I still call them a kill because they're not human anymore,
right.
So his counts are immeasurable. I don't know if they're billions like Donnie's last week, but but that's my quick rundown. I think he's pretty powerful, and he's got mind control. Let me see. I didn't. No. So he possesses a wide range of supernatural powers, including immortality, superhuman strength and speed, shape-shifting abilities, enhanced senses, hypnotic abilities, and the power to turn others into vampires. He can also control nocturnal animals, manipulate weather, and wield magical abilities. So the key power, immortality, he's immortal. He's not aging at all, and he remains in the same physical state when he became the vampire. So he's the same age since he became the vampire. Superhuman strength and speed. He is physically stronger and faster than humans, with some depictions showing him being 20 times stronger than a normal human. Shape-shifting, which, if you've seen the movies, he can transform into a bat, wolf, mist, or other creatures. Enhanced senses. He has heightened senses, including vision, hearing, and smell. Hypnosis, he can hypnotize his victims and control their actions, which he does that too. Like you'll see him like in the original Dracula, also with Bela Lugosi. You'll see like it's funny the way they do it back in the day is black and white. Like it zooms in on his face, but it's really light and bright around his eyes, and he stares at the girl, and all of a sudden she's hypnotized by him. Turning others, his bite can turn you into a vampire. Weather manipulation, he can create mists and even storms. Flight, he can fly when he's a bat. And regeneration, he can heal from injuries quickly. So limitations is while Dracula has numerous powers, he also has limitations, including being vulnerable to sunlight and holy objects like crosses and sacred wafers. He may also be unable to cross running water at certain times. Variations, different versions, Dracula's powers and weaknesses can vary depending on the version or adaptation of the book or a video game. Some portrayals add or alter certain powers, such as the ability to control minds or possess others. So there's also, besides Dracula, the Lost Boys is another super huge vampire movie.
Yeah.
Dracula's not in it, but and it may have been mentioned in Bram Stoker's, but a lot of times vampires are depicted as they can't enter your house unless you invite them in. They must be invited in.
Black-eyed children.
Yeah, yeah. They can't just come in your house. You have to be like, hey, would you like to come in? And then they have power to come and go as they want. So, yeah, that's my basic rundown of Dracula. I don't know if you guys wanted more versions, but again, I based it off of Bram Stoker right now. But of Dracula, again, in general, all the variations of him, he's the most powerful vampire there is. So, do what you will with that.
So
take that, Annabelle doll.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to go with Dracula on this one.
Without even giving your part.
Yeah, yeah. Because you know what I was looking up, like I didn't really find much on like Annabelle.
Yeah, she's just a possessed doll, right?
Yeah, she's just a possessed doll, and I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
It's basically she's this possessed doll. Like the film came out in 2014, and it's part of the Conjuring universe, which has a ton of different movies in that universe. La Llorona being one of them.
Yep.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't yet either.
Basically, the plot of the movie is this: the film starts with the same opening scene from The Conjuring. In 1970, in which two young women and a young man are telling Ed and Lorraine Warren about their experiences with a doll called Annabelle, which they believe is haunted. In 1967, John and Mia Form live in Santa Monica and are expecting their first child. John gives her a doll that she's been trying to find. Mia loves it, puts it with the rest of her doll collection, which, if you've seen the movie, the doll collection itself is creepy as fuck.
I don't want to cut you off,
Go
but
ahead.
the movie version of Annabelle looks nothing like what the real life version of Annabelle looks like.
No, it was a
Raggedy
Ann doll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, I mean, obviously they had to make it
right, scary for the movie.
scarier, but can you imagine if the movie was about a Raggedy Ann? I don't know. I think that would have been even creepier.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially since like Raggedy Ann is more relevant to us
right.
than anything.
Than that porcelain doll they use.
Yeah, well, I fucking hate porcelain dolls.
Right, they're creepy, yes.
Yeah.
And I laid down with them in New Orleans.
So, the real, like I said, the real Annabelle is large, well, like we were talking about, is a large vintage Raggedy Ann doll made of cloth with red yarn hair and a stitched smile. Very different from the porcelain-like version that we've seen in the movie. Like we just discussed.
Oops, sorry.
The real backstory, because this is actually based on like a true events or true story or something like that. A nursing student named Donna received the doll as a gift from her mother. She and her roommate began to notice strange behavior. The doll would move on its own, change positions, and even appear in different rooms. They also claimed to find notes written in childlike handwriting on parchment paper, which they didn't keep in the house. A psychic medium told the roommates that the doll was inhabited by a spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died in the area. The spirit allegedly wanted to be loved and allowed to stay, and the spirit allegedly just wanted to be loved and allowed to stay in the doll. When things escalated, such as a friend being attacked, scratched, and thrown across the room, the Warrens, meaning Ed and Lorraine Warren, were contacted. They claim the spirit was not a child, but a demonic entity using deception to ultimately possess a human host. The Warrens took Annabelle and placed her in the occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut, which it is currently not there anymore because apparently Annabelle wanted to go on tour.
Do you know why they're doing it? I never heard the origin story why they're doing this.
I'm not sure.
I thought you mentioned that
that might have been Don that said something about
because that Ed and Lorraine are dead, that the son wants to do it or something. He's the one that's taking it.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But all I know is some freaky shit is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It went to New Orleans first, and I guess as soon as it got to New Orleans or whatever, all I know is some shit went down. There was 11 inmates that escaped the prison.
The night that they got there, I thought it happened. Yeah. Then fire at the oldest slave plantation in the world, I think, or oldest slave plantation in New Orleans.
Right.
Started on fire and burnt down.
Oh yeah, that was Laveau.
Marie Laveau's?
Marie Laveau's plantation.
Was it? I didn't think it was hers. I would have heard that name.
That's what I read, that it was Marie Laveau's.
Oh, I heard it was, I don't know what, I just heard it was a plantation, but I didn't remember hearing her name. But I did hear, some other voodoo person's shop caught on fire too, or got something else happened. Like a bunch of random weird shit's going on in New Orleans since the doll's gotten there.
Oh, yeah. See, yeah. Annabelle Rose into Louisiana. Suddenly, Nottoway Plantation burns down. Inmates escape from New Orleans Parish Prison, and Marie Laveau's homestead catches fire.
Okay, so the plantation was something different than her homestead, but
right.
So 2 fires, then
And it says, totally normal, but sure, keep dragging her around like she's a harmless antique. Meanwhile, Lorraine Warren is somewhere screaming, "I told you to leave her locked up."
Yeah, she's supposed to be coming to Chicago, I heard.
Yeah, and
I wonder if she's gonna be at that horror con.
That Don was trying to figure that out. He could not find any information on where she's going to be in Chicago.
Yeah, and what time?
As far as timeline wise, I think she's going to be here June 6th.
Oh, okay, 6/6.
Oh shit.
Because the horror con's August 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know. I thought Don had said something that it was going to be in June.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that shit's. I'm good with that. Like I was talking to Autumn about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Let's go see it." I'm like, "Yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm good. She can stay wherever the fuck she is." So anyway, she's like I said, she's part of the Conjuring universe. Annabelle became globally known due to James Wan's horror films, The Conjuring, which came out in 2013. She had a brief appearance, and then she came out. Annabelle had 3 movies of her own, which the first one was in 2014, and then the second one was Creation in 2017, and then 2019, Annabelle Comes Home.
I think I've only seen the first one.
I only seen the first one. In the films, Annabelle is portrayed as a terrifying porcelain doll with a demonic entity attached to it. The movies greatly exaggerate and fictionalize the true story, but they helped cement Annabelle's status as a pop culture icon of horror.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your social relevance,
Especially, I said it right now with what's going on with her.
And I'll probably eventually download the picture of what I've seen. Like she's locked up in this crazy ass glass case, and even I've seen a video of them cleaning the case. They take her out and put her in a very similar glass case, clean that one, and then put her back.
Dun, dun, dun.
So many skeptics believe that the story of Annabelle is a hoax or, at best, misinterpreted natural phenomena. Critics argue that the Warrens' claims lack very verifiable evidence and rely heavily on anecdotal reports. Nonetheless, the legend of Annabelle continues to fascinate and terrify, blurring the line between folklore and fear.
Yeah.
So that's what I have on Annabelle.
Do you have a death count?
So,
a kill count.
What I found, because I was looking as you were talking about Dracula, in the movies, so let's see. I guess technically she doesn't physically have the kill count because she's just a doll.
Yeah, she doesn't kill anything herself.
But I guess it's the whole manipulation where she was causing people to kill or do other things. But from what I had seen, it was like 7 people had died throughout the 3 movies.
Nice.
Although there's other stuff too, like the list of deaths wiki. They're talking about Charles Manson in it.
Wow.
So I don't know. I'd have to come back to that and like actually. It says total deaths were 14, but
Okay.
it's from other people killing. So that's why I'm saying like I don't know
So they're
100%.
attributed to her, though, if she like possessed someone or made them do whatever.
Right,
I would still
right.
count them as her kills, I guess.
So then yeah, then 14.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that is Annabelle. I don't know. I'm still kind of leaning towards Dracula though.
I I think in a straight up fight, Dracula would dominate. Also, social relevance. This is interesting. I forgot all about this. Dracula's been, I don't want to say spoofed because it's not the right word, but made into a black exploitation film. There's Blackula. I don't know
Oh
if you heard of
yeah,
that back in the 70s. And
yeah,
then,
yeah. Yeah.
again, just all the spin off, like Blades of Vampire that Wesley Snipes plays him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Twilight.
Twilight is, yeah, sparkly vampires. But it's just, yeah, I don't, he probably, now we talked about Mount Rushmores last week, but if you went just horror icon, not slashers. I think our Mount Rushmore, was Michael and Jason and
Yeah,
Freddy. Those are all slashers. But if you go to like at the core horror
like
icons where it
icons.
started, Dracula,
Wolfman, Dracula,
Wolfman, yeah, Frankenstein,
Frankenstein. Yeah,
classic horror icons. That's what started horror.
Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Mummy, the Mummy
Oh yeah,
was always back then. So, and then yeah, Dracula has been even kids like him from Adam Sandler playing him in Hotel Transylvania.
oh yeah, that's right.
Blah blah blah. They make fun of him, but they made it. Yeah. And then what I forgot to mention while talking about him is he's very high class, and he's not just some like guy you see on the street. Like he holds himself like 18th century nobility, and he so he's that's why he's able to charm also, because the girls like, oh, look at that guy's very charming and
Mm-hmm.
dressed up and everything. So that's part of his allure too. So yeah, I think Dracula would win.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that too.
I think it's a blowout, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
But then again, yeah, depending on, let's say, the younger generation doesn't. Okay, right, I saw Dracula in Hotel Transylvania. They don't know him as scary Dracula. They just know him
right.
as that. But they see all the news about Annabelle now, and they've seen all the Conjuring movies, and they know who Annabelle is. So yeah, maybe Annabelle could put up a fight. Who knows?
I mean, it also depends on our demographic of who listens
Right.
and stuff like that, and
Right.
who's gonna actually vote.
Right. So this would be an interesting matchup. Definitely, it's worlds clashing. Old school
Oh
versus
yeah,
new school.
yeah, for sure.
Nice. All right. Next up.
So next, our second matchup of the night is Creeper from Jeepers Creepers
Ooh.
and Gremlins.
Ooh. Nice.
So,
So initial reaction.
oh man,
They both have weaknesses. The Gremlins can't be in sunlight either, right?
right?
And Jeepers Creepers, he only kills for a night every 27 years?
Correct.
And then does he die, or he just have to go back into slumber?
He just basically hibernation for the next 27 years.
So there's both
27 springs, whatever.
weaknesses when it comes to fighting. Gremlins, they can, if you get them wet, there's millions of them, so they can overtake him, I think.
Right.
But yeah, their weaknesses are, whew. And then depending on, do you get them as a Mogwai or as a Gremlin right away? Because a Mogwai, they're cute and cuddly.
Well, they start out as the cute and cuddly, and then they feed them after midnight.
Yep.
So,
Feed them after midnight turns them into the Gremlin,
yeah.
and getting them wet makes them multiply.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sunlight kills them. Interesting. All right, those are our pre-thoughts. Like, if I had to pick a winner right now, oh, and not just fighting style, but adding everything together before we officially do our research, I'm gonna go. Oh, I love the Gremlins. I'm going Gremlins.
I'm going creeper.
I was gonna go creeper because I was gonna put. I think in a fight the creeper would find a way to win. Because until I read into him, I think he can't be killed. He just goes to slumber. But the gremlins, I got my boys. The gremlins, Stripe, Gizmo, Kaka. All right, let's reconvene in 5 minutes.
So after doing the research on Jeepers Creepers, I'm totally sticking with Jeepers Creepers, and you'll see why when I explain to the podcast land, to our thinkers, who is the creeper. So
Jesse.
So the Creeper is a fictional character and the main antagonist in the 2001 horror film Jeepers Creepers. He was in 4 movies total: Jeepers Creepers 2, 3, and then the 4th one was Reborn, I believe it was called. It is an ancient demonic being who feeds on human beings for 23 days every 23rd spring. Now, I know we said 27.
Yeah, we were guessing. We thought 27 maybe.
And we only said one night.
Yeah.
But that's false.
So it's 23 days for every
23rd spring.
So it's 23. Okay.
And specific details regarding the creeper's origin have not as of yet been specified.
Ooh.
But the director has stated that the creature's nature is in part intentionally left ambiguous for thematic effect. In the behind-the-scenes interview on the Jeepers Creepers 2 DVD, Salva teased that the creeper has been around for a long time, and that he might have at one point possibly been human and turned into the creeper by another being a la vampire, inspiring the vampire legend and universe.
Ooh.
Kind of weird how that tied in with our last matchup.
Yeah.
The creeper has the ability to regenerate any part of its body by devouring a similar part from a victim.
Huh.
In this manner, it has survived since biblical times, replenishing his deteriorated body by ingesting human flesh and organs.
Jesus.
The ability also works as a form of healing factor, as the creeper can discard injured or maimed body parts after ingesting a replacement version. In addition to his regenerative powers, the creeper is quite resilient. He is repeatedly run over by a car in the first movie. In the second film, it is impaled with harpoons multiple times, yet retains the ability to move, including several head wounds. Retains the ability to move, including several head wounds. The creeper only stops moving when it reaches its hibernation period.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's why I said, as far as fight-wise, gremlins have no chance.
I don't know.
But power in numbers.
1 million gremlins.
Yeah.
They just got to keep outlasting them for 23 days. Keep getting water poured on them.
Physiologically...
And you said he feeds on human flesh. What about gremlin flesh?
Well, see, that's what I was thinking too. Like, is it going to be like Deadpool when he loses his arms and he has like baby arms? So it's going to be little gremlin arms. Physiologically, the creeper is only partially humanoid. His skin is green and scaly, and he has razor-sharp claws and teeth. Hidden under his black duster coat are a pair of enormous bat-like wings, strong enough to lift himself and at least one adult human.
Yep.
In the second film, the creeper is shown to throttle a pickup truck off the ground while in flight. The speed at which he can fly is undetermined, but he is seen to match a speeding automobile with little difficulty. The creeper possesses a third nostril on the bridge of his nose, which allows him to smell specific organs, or just the parts that he wants.
Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get them peepers?
So now that you started singing the song, where did I see this at? So there was something I was reading that he's in a prequel to before even the first film. He was heard speaking.
Really?
And he has... Oh, here it is. Though never deliberately stated, it can be inferred that the creeper is quite intelligent. In a deleted scene from the first movie, he has been shown to speak in a Western accent
Really?
and has demonstrated the ability to whistle. He
Ooh.
seems to enjoy music and owns an old phonograph on which he plays the song which inspired the film's namesake whilst dissecting his victims.
Dun dun
He
dun.
also appears to appreciate and indulge in art, as he creates patchwork sculptures and weapon decorations out of any uneaten parts from his victims.
Huh.
The creeper also takes measures to disguise his actual identity by dressing in inhuman clothing, particularly tattered trousers, a worn duster, and a wide-brimmed hat. He also drives a derelict 1941 Chevy COE, which he uses to transport bodies to various hideouts.
Yeah.
So, other than power by numbers, I'm gonna have to go the creeper. As far as his kill count,
Yes.
so from all four movies, it was said that there was between 50 and 60 kills in total.
Okay. That's it?
But the creeper has likely killed hundreds or more in universe across centuries.
Right. If he's been around that long,
Yeah.
you would think, like, yeah, he's got to be in the millions and millions. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, he sounds like a formidable foe. I don't know if the Gremlins would have a chance in a fight. Like I said, in numbers, but
In numbers.
and then they would just have to last 23 days. But it doesn't sound like he's killable, huh?
No, especially if he's able to just eat a person's arm and get his arm back. Or
Right, right. Like,
But like you said, like as far as fighting wise, like if he did that to a gremlin, like will he get an arm back, or would it be a little baby arm?
right. Like, how fast is the regeneration process? Like,
Right.
it's been a while since I've seen the movies, but like, yeah, I've seen. Yeah, when he flies, he's fucking fast as hell, and I seen him just like taunt that school bus full of kids.
Yeah, that was awesome. When he's like picking each one out, he's like licking the glass
Yep,
and shit.
yeah. When yeah, like I said, he's smelling what he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, like then, so when he does go into his slumber, is he killable then? You know, like, all right, he's asleep now, but where does he go to sleep at? Is he somewhere you can be found, or is he like buries himself underground where no one can get to him? Like,
Right.
ooh.
But I mean, when he goes into slumber, I know when I think it was the second movie, he was a scarecrow.
He was a scarecrow?
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen him pretending to be the scarecrow, you know, like in the middle of the field, but I didn't know if that was, it's been so long since I said that, I don't even know if I've seen him more than the first one. Interesting.
And another thing too, I was thinking, if he can regenerate his body by eating like parts from a human or like we're saying like a gremlin, would he turn gremlin size after he ate like pieces of the gremlin? Like there'd be a mini fucking
Mini
creeper.
Instead of a Mini Cooper, it's a
That's-
Mini Creeper.
Yeah, so that's interesting too. If you
I think he just, oh yeah, because it says, the way you said it, that he looks for the body parts he needs.
Right.
So, but does it like, okay, I ate any kind of liver and I'm fine now, or like, yeah, does he take over the properties of, because he looks like he's still full size, and I'm sure he's had to have eaten children here and there, you know, and he still looks full size.
yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
it's interesting.
We need to speak to the creator.
Yeah, right.
We have questions. We need answers.
Well, now that you've given your guy, just like last matchup, I think I'm gonna fight a losing battle here. But, Gremlins. So the Gremlins are the titular, whatever, main antagonists of the franchise of the same name. They are based very loosely on the mythological creatures said to vex aircrafts. Like before the movie Gremlins, or even after, you know, people always say, hey, Gremlins, and they don't mean the green gremlins in the movies. They mean, like, you know, gremlins, like when something goes wrong with your car, oh, gremlin got it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, these monsters were notable for being mischievous and chaotic, obsessed with destruction and cruel practical jokes. They are largely unknown reptilian goblin-like creatures. The gremlins also had a primitive social structure with more cunning and vicious members gaining higher rank via bullying or outright murder. The most powerful of the gremlins in the original film was the manipulative but deadly Stripe. In the second film, due to genetic engineering, I don't know if you've seen the second one ever.
No, I didn't.
Oh wow, it's pretty. I think it's more funny than scary.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in a genetic scientist lab, so a number of other unique gremlins were born in the second movie. Amongst them was the brain gremlin, who was stereotypically civilized, yet also brutal in his methods, becoming a spokesman of sorts for his kind. Like he spoke like the gray poop. Excuse me, would you like me to do this? Blah blah blah. And he had like very refined talking, and he was super smart, and he had glasses and everything, and it was interesting. So although almost universally dangerous and corrupt, gremlins actually have a fairly innocent beginning as the furry critters known as mogwai. When a mogwai becomes wet or is fed after midnight, a gremlin is born, and their physiology and behavioral patterns alter dramatically. Gremlins are also somewhat carnivorous and bloodthirsty, though in general gremlins are not out to devour human flesh. They much prefer to raid human homes and stores for sweet foodstuffs such as candy or cookies. Other foods they enjoy to eat are chicken legs, frozen yogurt, and a sandwich with ham, cheese, and lettuce. Gremlins do love destruction, though, and will happily tear apart electrical equipment, hijack vehicles, and ambush people, attacking them with their sharp teeth and claws. The gremlin's main weakness is exposure to direct sunlight, which causes them to melt into puddles of goo and kills them in the process. For this reason, both gremlins and mogwai are naturally scared of bright lights.
Bright light.
Yeah, bright light, light bright, light bright. A gremlin is the last stage of the gremlin life cycle, which goes from mogwai to cocoon to gremlin. It is said that gremlins are considered to be an unwanted side effect from when the mogwais were created on a faraway planet to be used as ambassadors of peace on other planets. They are about 1 meter tall, and they have scaly reptile-like skin, large bat-like ears, 3 sharp claws on their feet and hands, and equally sharp teeth. And they also have a small tail, and the color may vary, which can be in either various shades of green, brown, or black. Their intelligence and strength vary, and they are all very mischievous, violent, and fun-loving. They are capable of working and sabotaging complex machinery and devices, as apparent in folklore where they were beloved or believed to have brought down hundreds of planes. No gremlin has so far proved to be good-willed and nice, and most of them don't seem to regard the life of their fellow gremlins, sometimes even killing or beating others for fun. Even though they are dangerous and fun-loving, they don't seem to hurt any human who are not afraid of them. An example of this is, what was it, the first one or the second one? Grandpa Fred from the Munsters. He's in it. You know, he's in his grandpa outfit, like Grandpa from the Munsters, and he's like a vampire. So while he's doing his inside scoop of what was happening inside the building, not a single gremlin behind him laid a finger on him. There's also a deleted scene, I guess, where he's doing something else, and again, they don't bother him. They leave him alone, which is, you know, if they were trying to kill every human, they wouldn't care if he was dressed like a vampire, but they leave him alone.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Mogwai evolved into gremlins by eating after midnight. It would appear that Mogwai are aware of this, as many show to be determined to eat after midnight. Even after their metamorphosis, gremlins still retain traits they had as a Mogwai, such as their dislike for bright lights and their vulnerability to sunlight, and most dangerously, their ability to multiply upon getting wet. Unlike the Mogwais, where small fur balls that pop out from their backs and quickly inflate to turn into new Mogwais, the backs of the wet gremlins get riddled with big blisters that contain small gremlins that rather quickly break free and starts to grow. The gremlins that are given birth to new gremlins are often more vulnerable than the other gremlins because the birthing process is often painful for the creatures. Afterwards, they continue to live as if nothing happened, often along with the newly born gremlins that they've quickly grown to full gremlin size. So yeah, when they get wet, they pop out instantly.
Mm-hmm. I think that's actually the noise that they make.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. So there's various gremlins. If you've seen them, there's Stripe. Stripe is a gremlin from the first Gremlins film and is Gizmo's arch enemy. He is the primary antagonist of the film. Even as a Mogwai, he was extremely cruel, mainly to Gizmo and the family dog Barney. He was a leader of the Gremlins, and he was killed when Gizmo exposed him to sunlight, which was deadly to Gremlins. Even as a Mogwai, you see he had a stripe, he had a mohawk. So,
Mm.
and there's the mutant Gremlins I mentioned. There's a vegetable Gremlin, which is funny as hell. Which is a gremlin drinks a vegetable serum and he becomes a mutant gremlin made of various vegetables like lettuce, carrots, and tomatoes. Like his whole face is like a fruit, like a vegetable thing. The brain gremlin, who I said he drinks brain serum, becomes a gremlin with human English voice with high intelligence. There's the bat gremlin, and one gremlin drinks a bat serum and becomes a mutant bat-like creature. And the brain gremlin injects genetic sunblock into him, so he goes into New York City in the middle of the day in sunlight because he has had the sunblock in him. There's the electric gremlin who drinks an electric serum and becomes an electric creature made of raw energy. There's a phantom gremlin, which he literally has maybe 20 seconds in the movie where he gets splashed by acid in the face, and then by from another gremlin, and then he wears a mask like Phantom of the Opera to cover half of his face. And I don't think he's in there more than 20 seconds. There's Greta, who's the female gremlin, who she drinks female serum and it becomes a female gremlin. And then there's Mohawk, the spider gremlin. Mohawk drinks a spider serum and becomes a spider-like creature. So those are various gremlins that most of them are in the second one. Now, as far as kill counts go, it's interesting is I have right here counted deaths. So, and I think this is, I don't know if it's both movies or just the first movie, but humans, there's only 3 human deaths. Oh, this is the first movie only. Roy Hansen, with the Gremlins, got his ass, it says, with a syringe, apparently, 49 minutes into the movie. Miss Deagle launched out the window via stair lift, which if you've seen the movie, you know that she has an electric stair lift that goes up the stairs, and they mess with the machinery, and it goes like 100 miles per hour up the stairs and launches her out the window. And then they kill Santa Claus. He's mauled to death by the Gremlins. Now, again, 3 humans, but where did my actual count go? It said somewhere, and now I lost it. This is bogus. I had the actual count. But it said something about, I apologize. Oh, okay, here we go. In the 1984 movie Gremlins, the kill count includes 3 human deaths and 157 gremlin deaths. The Gremlins were only responsible for 4 of the deaths. I think 3 humans and 1 gremlin, obviously. And then in the sequel, Gremlins 2, the new batch, the kill count includes 4 human deaths and 445 gremlin deaths.
Jesus.
So they die and regenerate. Again, they're crazy. It's interesting that I think, again, back in the 80s, I think nowadays that movie would be like rated R maybe, but I think back then it was PG-13 only, and there's no nudity, maybe. I don't know if there's any even swearing, but there's like little gremlin things killing people. So
Right.
it's interesting the way movie ratings change. So the way they can regenerate so quickly with just water, but then again, their weakness is the sunlight and bright lights. The creeper had bright lights on his truck, and he can go out in daytime or nighttime. So I think the creeper might win unless they're like near a body of water at night, like that they can just jump in and just regenerate like millions at a time. So I don't know. That's an interesting one.
So Gremlin army.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And side note, I always wanted a Mogwai growing up. I wanted a Gizmo. Actually, we had, I think, a pet hamster, and his name was Gizmo. And it was white and tan like Gizmo looks. So.
My aunt had a Chihuahua. It was a long-haired Chihuahua. It looked like Gizmo.
Really?
It was the name, too.
That's awesome. So, yeah, this is an interesting matchup. The Creeper, I feel if he can get past the Gremlins, he can make a strong run.
I mean, another thing, too, like, Creeper can fly.
Yep.
So, that's a huge advantage.
Like I said, in Gremlins 2, the brain guy, he injected, like I said, the anti-sunlight sunblock serum into the bat one. So they could go out in the sun. So they evolve too, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. I have a soft spot in my heart for Gremlins, but the Creeper seems pretty fucking tough. Yeah. It's just, I have trouble, just like, I don't know if you've ever seen those videos they put on TikTok or Facebook Reels where it's, 100 Jasons versus 3 Freddys. They do
Yeah.
that. So like 1 million Gremlins versus the Creeper. Who would win? Like that, I wonder. Like,
Yeah.
could he take them all out again? And it sounds like he's pretty much immortal. It says he doesn't stop moving until it's time for him to hibernate again.
Mm-hmm.
So if he doesn't stop moving, he regenerates. If he regenerates quick enough, he has no weaknesses. Then like, it'd be hard to beat him. But I still vote for the Gremlins because we're not talking about just fights.
Right.
I have a soft spot for the old timers.
Yeah, because you can't even really say there's like a social relevance for
No.
Gremlins anymore.
I'll bet
I mean,
you.
these movies came out in the 80s.
I was gonna say Easton and Ryland. I bet you I can even text Logan and Rain. Do you know what the Gremlins are? And they'd be like, "What? What's that?" Because again, yeah, if it came out in '84, right. Logan and Rain were born in 01 and 03. So, yeah, I wonder if even younger people know what the Gremlins even are.
Right. Which then you have Jeepers Creepers. The last movie came out in 2022.
Right. Dun dun dun. Interesting. This is gonna be a good one.
Yeah. We'll see what the thinkers have to say or not say, but vote.
Yeah. Fun. Next up.
But with our third of the night, we had Jigsaw and Leatherface.
Ooh. Interesting.
It's interesting.
Because this is going to be brains versus brawn, basically.
Basically, yep.
Like 100% brains versus brawn. Because Jigsaw, that dude's weak as fuck. He just uses his brain and traps and creations.
Yeah.
Leatherface is dumb as fuck and just comes after you with a chainsaw.
Yep.
Literally brains versus brawn.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, well.
What are your initial thoughts, Loopster?
Oh, man. If this is, like, just going as far as a fight, I'm going to have to say Jigsaw takes this.
Ooh.
And, like you said, I mean, brain versus brawn. Jigsaw, very smart.
Right.
And he knew how to... I mean, there was a plot twist in every fucking movie.
Right. But does he have time to prepare for Leatherface? Because all of his stuff, he's like prepares these elaborate,
Yeah,
games.
He did, but
Want to play a game?
He
Live or die?
Yeah.
You decide.
You have to cut your arm off with a chainsaw. I feel like Jigsaw already had stuff planned out before he even captured any of these people. So,
I was going back and forth in my mind over. I think Leatherface would take him if he caught him, obviously.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, if he got caught in one of Jigsaw's traps, if Jigsaw made it where there is no way out, just, hey, this is going to kill him, not, hey, you can get out if you answer my puzzle.
Right.
Because Leatherface, when you boil it down to it, is just a human.
Mm-hmm.
Just a very huge fucking muscular human with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any special powers about him until we research him, but I think to not give a straight answer, it would depend if he had time to plan his trap, or if it was like, here, you two are in a room right now. You know what I mean? Like, plan something now while he's chasing you, because would he be able to do that?
I mean, if that was the case, then Leatherface.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Maybe not just here, you're in a locked room together, but like, here's a house, you guys go against each other. Can he plan something quick enough, or does he need months and months and to create all this stuff? Like, that's the weird thing about what we're doing, I guess, is you can have all these fucking what ifs,
Yeah. Many different scenarios.
But I think if I had to, I think Jigsaw's brain in a fight would overpower Leatherface.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that.
But Leatherface is on my Mount Rushmore. Doesn't mean he'd win. All right, let us confirm our thoughts and provide the data.
Yeah.
Starting, are you?
You.
Me.
Yes.
All righty. So, first up in this matchup, I bring to you Leatherface. He's also known by 6 other names. He is the main antagonist in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise of horror films and comic books. He has been portrayed by a few different people. The other names he goes by in the original timeline, his name is Bubba Sawyer. In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 timeline, Junior Sawyer. The New Generation timeline, he's Leather Slaughter. The 3D timeline, his name's Jebediah Sawyer. In the remake timeline, he's Thomas Hewitt. In the 2022 timeline, Kenny Slaughter. So he goes by many different names depending on what version of the movie you're watching. Watching. He also, just for a little shits and giggles, side trivia here, in comic books, there was a full series of Jason versus Leatherface comic books.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Issue 1, issue 2, I guess there's only 2 issues, but either way, there was Jason versus Leatherface comic books. So that's just a brief introduction to his name. Let me see. So he originally is from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a 1974 film produced, composed, and directed by Tobe Hooper, who co-wrote it with Kim Henkel. The plot follows a group of friends who fall victim to a family of cannibals while on their way to visit an old homestead. The film was marketed as being based on true events to attract a wider audience and to act as a subtle commentary on the era's political climate. I don't know how. Although the character of Leatherface and minor story details were inspired by the crimes of murderer Ed Gein, its plot is largely fictional. But yes, Leatherface was, I've heard for years and years and years, based off of Ed Gein. Also, just so you know, so Leatherface, he's known for his chainsaw-wielding attacks, cannibalistic tendencies, and the distinctive masks he makes from human skin. He is often depicted as a mentally disabled serial killer who, along with his family, hunts and kills intruders in their territory. Origin and inspiration, I just mentioned, he's from the 1974 films where he first showed up, and he's inspired by the crimes of real-life serial killer Ed Gein. Character traits, he is characterized by his physical strength, use of a chainsaw and other tools, and his cannibalistic behavior. The masks, Leatherface is famous for wearing masks made from the skin of his victims, which further contributes to his terrifying image. His family is often depicted as part of a deranged inbred family who share his violent and cannibalistic tendencies. Let's see. Also, the plot of the first movie, like I said, the way the plot of the first movie is, a grave robber steals corpses from a cemetery near New Muerto County, Texas. The robber ties a rotting corpse and other body parts onto a monument, creating a grisly display that is discovered by local residents as the sun rises. That doesn't make no sense right now because that's just stupid. Anyways, the main plot is these teenagers, a van of teenagers, drives into this town in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And in different versions of the movie, like I said, the first one is a town and they're just in this like camper, I believe, and they get chased by a guy with a chainsaw who's wearing masks made of people's faces. In a different version, they're chased through like a meat packing place.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one with Jessica Biel in it. It's the meat packing place.
That was a good one.
I love that one. That was really good. It was done well.
I didn't see the original one.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever. I think I've seen it. But I just always remember the Jessica Biel one just because I'm in love with Jessica Biel, first of all, too. So, Leatherface, how do I say this? I don't think he really has any special powers. If anything, again, he's usually portrayed as being mentally handicapped. Like, he's special, but he's just huge and strong and seems like he doesn't feel pain, because he just fights through it and chases you. Like, his goal is to get you, kill you, and eat you. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care how much pain, what you've done to him. He chases you. And usually, again, you're as a human, you hear a chainsaw, you're running.
Oh yeah.
There's no one looking trying to fight back. You're running from him. And he's I think on my Mount Rushmore. Which again, if you depending on, again, you can have different Mount Rushmores, but if you're doing horror slasher film icons, I gotta throw that slasher film in there because we just discussed a little bit ago that Dracula is probably one of the main ones. But you have Jason, Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, maybe Ghostface is on there now, depending on how many people you want to put on there. Chucky's in a lot of them. I don't. Pinhead from Hellraiser's on a lot of them. Pennywise has made it now. There's a lot, but I think for me the main four: Jason, Michael, Freddy, Leatherface. Those are the four original four horsemen of the apocalypse. But again, social relevance. You can't say Texas Chainsaw Massacre without thinking Leatherface because that's him. You can't say, hey, someone's going to kill you with a chainsaw without you thinking, okay, Leatherface,
Right.
because who started it, who did it, and it's the freaking title of the movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Speaking of massacres, as far as we want to go to his kill count,
Nice segue.
I know, isn't that great? He is responsible for, by film, so 1974 film he killed 4. 1986 there was 3, which is I think is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. 1990 there was 2. 95 3. 03 6. 06 9. 13 he killed 7. 17 6. 22 24 in 2022 films. So 64 people so far in the films. By comic series, which is interesting, they even do the kill count for the comic series. In the Leatherface series, he killed 114. In Jason vs. Leatherface, he killed 6. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2005 version, he killed 5. Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Grind in 06, he killed 6. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Fear Book, he killed 3. So overall, in comics and movies combined, he's got a kill count of 198. But if you want to go just movies, which we've been talking about, is 64. So he's not got a huge kill count, but it had mentioned earlier somewhere, a lot of the movies, he is like 3 or 4 or 5. He terrorizes like a car full of people that just stumble across them, you know? So, granted, now if we want to extrapolate or use your imagination, I'm sure he's killed plenty of people in between the cars we see in the movies, So who knows what his kill count is, but as far as, again, for what we've done this whole series, what we see in the movies, he's at 64.
Mm-hmm.
He's an imposing figure. Like, it doesn't give exact size, but I want to say he's at least 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, he's a
big
very
dude.
massive human being.
Mm-hmm. So, he's scary, man. He's scary. You will see pictures. I'm sure we'll post pictures, with the voting. Yeah. He's got superhuman strength, it says. He exhibits superhuman strength, capable of snapping bones, lifting and tossing large objects, and wielding a chainsaw with ease. Superhuman durability. He can withstand injuries like chainsaw cuts, shotgun blasts, and other forms of trauma without significant incapacitation. He's got high stamina. He's depicted as having remarkable stamina, able to relentlessly chase victims for extended periods and swim long distances. Surprising speed for how big he is. Despite his age and build, he's surprisingly swift and agile. And weapon proficiency. He's highly proficient with a chainsaw,
I would have never guessed.
which he uses as his weapon for inflicting damage and terror. He also utilizes a sledgehammer, often for stunning and bludgeoning opponents. And then, yeah, like I said, he's also a cannibal. So once he kills you, he's going to eat you. And that's, I guess, the main breakdown of him. There's so much with some of these well-known ones. It's hard to narrow down what I want to say about. Otherwise, I could talk for an hour and a half on each one of these guys,
Right.
So that's basically it. Weaknesses, though, limited range with his weapon. Obviously, you can only reach so far with a chainsaw. So his chainsaw has a relatively short range, making it less effective in enclosed spaces or against survivors who are agile. Weaknesses of reliance on his chainsaw. He's less effective without his chainsaw, which can be exploited by survivors who can outmaneuver him. He can be outsmarted. This leads into you. Survivors can use their knowledge of the map and strategic positioning to avoid his chainsaw and take advantage of his weaknesses. Vulnerable in certain areas. His effectiveness is limited in areas where his chainsaw range is restricted or where survivors can quickly escape his pursuit. Mental limitations. His actions are often driven by his family and his limited cognitive abilities, which can be exploited by survivors.
Hmm.
So again, all the things we kind of said before, he's slow and not slow, but like slow in the mind,
Yeah.
But he's relentless.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this kind of ties into what we were saying before. Our guess is, I think his limited smarts will be his downfall versus Jigsaw. So again, that's my quick Leatherface synopsis. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, so obviously I took over for Jigsaw. I almost said Saw. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Jigsaw was just the alias of John Kramer, who was the actual killer. Also, Billy the Doll too. That's another part of John Kramer and the Saw movies and everything like that. Anyway, Saw came out in 2004, and it was actually a low budget indie horror film that obviously like just exploded, and like now there's 10 movies in total, with an 11th one possibly coming out this year.
Really?
As long as everything goes right with the directors and everything like that, and Lionsgate, there should be a new film this year.
I did not know that.
So, as far as what I read, they are also known for inventing the torture porn subgenre of horror. So the Jigsaw Killer, aka John Kramer, captures morally flawed individuals and places them in deadly games or traps. The goal isn't to kill, it's to make victims value life through self-sacrifice or pain. Jigsaw never directly kills victims. They actually cause their own deaths by failing his tests. So the main character, John Kramer, or Jigsaw, is a dying engineer with terminal cancer who becomes a philosophical killer. Though he dies in Saw 3, not by cancer, but by somebody slitting his throat. And he continues appearing through flashbacks, recordings, and disciples. Events are non-linear, filled with flashbacks and overlapping timelines. Films often recon or reveal new layers behind past events. The Apprentices. Jigsaw has several disciples who carry on his legacy. Amanda Young in Saw 2 and 3. She was an addict and survivor turned fanatic. Detective Hoffman, Saw 3 and Saw 7. He was a corrupt cop with brutal edge. Dr. Lawrence Gordon, Saw 1 and Saw 7. He was a survivor who secretly helps Jigsaw posthumously. Other minor possible followers introduced in later films. So the most iconic part in the first one was the two men that woke up in a bathroom chained with a corpse in between them that was laying in the middle of the floor. Now, actually, plot twist.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched Saw yet, don't listen.
The person who was in the middle of the floor was actually Jigsaw himself, John Kramer. And that was actually revealed in, I believe, Saw 3.
Oh, it wasn't in the first one they revealed?
No. They didn't reveal that until, I think, the third movie.
Wow. Playing the long game.
Yeah, for sure. So, now, when I was looking on the horror wiki, there was a ton of different things. And like I was telling you, Dan, that I wouldn't even be scraping very tip top of everything. Like you want to say icebergs are, what do they say? Icebergs are only like 10% shown at the
Yeah.
outside of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is exactly what it was. Um, but his smarts and how he was able to capture these people and put him in these torture tests, but gave him a chance to survive was like,
Diabolical.
yeah, seriously. And I think that if he was able to do this with all these other people, but then again, like there were some that were junkies, like that girl that had to find the fucking. Of course, you know I had to bring that up.
Ugh.
I think it was in the second one, right? Or was it that one in the third one? Anyway, this girl had to find a syringe, right, with a like an antidote that
All I know, she had to jump into a pool of syringes.
well.
Ugh. Right.
Actually, no, she didn't have to jump into a pool of syringes. She found there was a syringe that was in a box, and if she stuck her hand in.
Okay.
But when she was pulling her hand out, the blades were like
Ugh.
grabbing her arm, so she couldn't really. But there was another syringe that had some kind of antidote, and it was in like a pit of
Yeah.
thousands and maybe tens of thousands of syringes.
Yeah.
And they actually there was a group of them that they actually pushed this girl in that fucking pit, and she was covered in syringes just hanging off of her. But any trap and test, like when the person would wake up after they were captured, the Billy the Clown would
Want to play a game.
yeah would not demonstrate but tell them like what they need to do to survive, and they actually had the chance to survive, but if they did things wrong they would die, which
You live your life by the drug. You're gonna die by the drug. Whatever he
most
says.
of the time they died. And
Live or die, you decide.
it was basically like testing like the body's and not endurance,
The limits.
but yeah, the test the
Yeah.
body's limits. And I mean there was so many fucking brutal tests that
But yeah, like you're mentioning that they had to go against their demons, basically. Like I said, it was a junkie fighting through, again, hypodermic needles.
yeah.
It was the one was a lady who was super vain or something. They didn't have like the bear trap.
Oh, the bear trap that
attached to her face, where if she took too long to solve her puzzle, the bear trap went in reverse and ripped her head open.
yeah, that was brutal.
I don't remember if she figured it out or not, if it killed her. I don't remember. It's been so long since I watched these, but I just remember like the elaborate setups though were.
And
crazy.
actually the very first test was actually what was his name? Well, anyway, it was John
It was Wesley.
Kramer's ex-wife, I guess. It was this guy that actually caused their divorce. So he was following John Kramer was following him and seeing that he was stealing shit and stuff like that. So he was like, okay, this is perfect. Like, this is the guy that I'm going to use for my very first test.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually had to put his face through like this contraption where his face would go through knives and it would cut up his face, and his hands were tied to a chair, and razor blades were cutting into his wrists, that the more he moved, the more they would cut and the more he would bleed out. So that test actually failed because the chair broke and he was able to escape.
Ooh.
But so yeah, I mean, there were so many. And did I even mention the kill count?
Nope. Let's play a game.
So like I said earlier, he never actually physically killed anybody. It was just the people that kind of basically almost killed themselves.
Right.
But his kill count is between 80 and 90 kills throughout the 10 movies.
Really? They don't have an exact count?
Hmm?
They don't have an exact count?
No.
Wow, that's weird.
No, 80 to 90 kills. He was, and John Kramer was actually killed in the third movie by being, uh, by having his throat slit.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, like I wasn't gonna. There was so much to cover that I wouldn't even know where
Right.
to continue or to end because I could probably talk for hours on that one.
Yeah, a lot of these that we know a lot about. It's almost like I said, information overload. Like it's how do we sort it where it makes sense and not leave anything out? And then in the process of it, I think we're leaving a lot out because if we go too far into it, we're gonna, like I said, we can talk for an hour and a half on him alone. I talk for an hour and a half on Leatherface. It's it's tough to give the vital information
Right.
and try to put ourselves in a spot where, again, maybe we're doing it wrong by assuming, okay, I'm sure you know who Leatherface is, so we're giving a short version where maybe, or what if someone doesn't know who Leatherface is, so maybe we're not describing it good enough. Or maybe if they were going into too much detail, be like, I don't care about that shit, It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard right now to figure out what to say about who.
Yeah, but I mean, shit. So to touch back more on John Kramer, he was actually killed by Jeff Denlon in the third movie. I know I said that like 3 or 4 times already. But so his early life, like John Kramer was a successful civil engineer who was married to a woman
that
named
makes sense.
Jill Tuck. While he worked in property development, she helped drug addicts at her rehabilitation clinic. John wasn't in favor of the clinic, believing that the addicts used Jill to get their fix of methadone, and that didn't really want to get clean. This perception was solidified by the fact that several of the addicts became regular patients, but being the devoted husband he was, he let it slide. Later, when Jill became pregnant, he started using his skills to build toys and a crib for the unborn child. He also repaired an old cuckoo clock and gave it to Jill as a gift. One day things went wrong. One of Jill's patients, a man named Cecil, threatened her with a knife after cutting the line and claiming he had been waiting for 3 hours. Luckily, John was there, and in a fit of rage, he threw Cecil out of the clinic. So Cecil was the one that was the very first person that went through the tests that Kramer put him through, or Kramer came up with.
Yeah.
So, and actually, Cecil was actually killed John's unborn child.
Ooh.
And was also the reason Jill divorced him. But he would help Cecil, help him to find himself. He followed Cecil to Chinatown as the local residents celebrated Chinese New Year and the start of the Year of the Pig. John witnessed Cecil steal again, which confirmed in John's mind that Cecil would be a good start. John kidnapped him wearing a plastic pig mask he had taken from a stand. This was the inspiration for the pig soup that he would later use in other movies. In the first trap, John chained Cecil to a chair with razors cutting into his man's wrists. The more Cecil moved, the faster he bled. Next, he placed a strange contraption of kitchen knives before Cecil, instructing Cecil to push his face against the blade in order to operate a lever and gain his freedom. If he succeeded, he would be freed, but he would become as ugly on the outside as John saw him on the inside. If Cecil failed, he would bleed out. The trap was painful to Cecil, but was flawed. Although Cecil couldn't push far into the blades, he was able to break the chair and free himself. Angry about what John had tried to do to him, Cecil threatened to kill John. John gave Cecil a chance to strike him, but John dodged Cecil. Cecil slipped on his own blood into a box of razor wire. In his anger and pain, Cecil tried to free himself. Instead, he only managed to cut himself more and get further entangled into the razor wire. John watched as the man died. John would later draw inspiration from this first trap to create the razor wire trap. But that's just kind of like a quick rundown of the very first trap, and there's tons. I'm talking They probably have all 80 fucking victims, 80 to 90 victims test in here. It's crazy.
Really? That is crazy.
So, but yeah, I mean, since he was a civil engineer, I mean, he was building some crazy shit.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, once you said earlier that his job, civil engineer, I was like, oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
That explains it all. Some of these contraptions and tests he put together
Hmm.
are wild.
That is our matchup between Jigsaw and Leatherface.
I think I'm going to say Leatherface.
You
Still.
gonna stick with Leatherface?
Nah, I don't. I, I, I think Jigsaw would have to win. I would think his brains would beat out Leatherface's brawn.
As long as he had the time and the
Right.
ability to um put some sort of elaborate trap,
Yeah.
he would totally just wipe Leatherface off the face of the earth.
Yeah, that's what.
But at the same time, if he's in this trap and Leatherface is just ungodly strong,
He just gets out of it,
he
maybe.
breaks out of it.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Fighting styles are completely opposite, so yeah, that's why it's a tough one. Social relevance, psh. Texas Chainsaw, Jigsaw. I mean, I don't know, man.
They're both up there
This
too.
is a tough one.
Yeah.
And I think when it boils down to it, I go with my Mount Rushmore. I gotta pick Leatherface.
I think I'll stick with
Jigsaw.
with Jigsaw.
Interesting.
But like I've said the last few matchups, let's see what the thinkers.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, these are maybe at first glance, oh, blowout, landslide. But then you think about it, like, well, wait a minute now, because they both have their own relevance in a different way, different time periods. I'm talking about all the matchups, not just this last one, but they all have different social relevance when they were super popular in the height of its game. They all have different fighting styles where you can't. Maybe it seems like a clear winner, but then you think about it, like, you're right, that could happen. These are all good matchups.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun, 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 fun. Last matchup.
With our last matchup,
Ooh.
we have, was it Ghostface?
Ghostface Killer.
and Jack Torrance.
Jack Torrance from
From
The
The
Shining. Oh, what's interesting?
This one's good because
They're both human.
they're both humans. But as far as Ghostface, like, there's more than just one.
Right. If you want to go like original Scream, it's the two guys, Billy Loomis or Billy,
I don't remember the names. That was a long time
but
ago.
those two dudes.
Wasn't it
Leave Schreiber. No.
Scooby Doo?
Yeah.
Shaggy.
Yep.
Fuck, what was his name?
Yep.
But him.
Yep. And Skeet Ulrich. That's the other guy's name. Yeah, I can't think of his name right now. Damn it.
Yeah, I can't either.
But anyways, Ghostface versus Jack Torrance. We shall.
I don't even know who I would.
I think if I had to go fight-wise, I was gonna say Ghostface, but even fighting the girls, he got beat up. Even when he sneak attacked them, they still found a way to get away.
Yeah. Where Jack Torrance, the only thing that fucked him up was cold weather.
Here's Johnny. Let us research. Dun, dun, dun. Wait. So, I'll start this one off, Lupe. Let me. I may have started the last few off, but I'm gonna start this one anyways. So, Jack Torrance is John Daniel Edward Torrance. So, Jack, I don't understand it. I never have. I've had people tell me that Jack is a nickname for John, which they're both 4 letters. I don't understand it. Anyways, he's a fictional character and the main antagonist of Stephen King's horror novel The Shining. He was portrayed by Jack Nicholson in the novel's 1980 film adaptation by Steven Weber. He was then by Steven Weber in the 1997 miniseries, by Brian Mulligan in the 2016 opera, and by Henry Thomas in the 2019 film adaptation of Doctor Sleep. The American Film Institute rated the character as played by Nicholson the 25th greatest film villain of all time. In 2008, Jack Torrance was selected by Empire magazine as one of the 100 greatest movie characters. Premiere magazine also ranked Torrance in their list of their 100 greatest movie characters of all time. So that's Jack Torrance. He is from The Shining, a 1980 psychological horror film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick and co-written with novelist Diane Johnson. So it is based on the 1977 Stephen King novel. The film presents the descent into insanity of a recovering alcoholic and aspiring novelist, Jack Nicholson, who takes a job as a winter caretaker for a haunted mountain resort hotel with his wife and clairvoyant son. So that's what The Shining is. Production took place in England. The film was released in the United States on May 23rd, 1980. Oh, today's May 23rd. Holy fuck.
Nice.
Wow. So it was released 45 years ago today. Interesting. That's so weird. There were several versions for theatrical releases, each of which was cut shorter than the preceding cut. About 27 minutes was cut in total. Reactions to the film at the time it was released were mixed. Stephen King criticized the film due to its deviations from the novel. The film received 2 controversial nominations at the first Razzies in 1981, Worst Director and Worst Actress, the later of which was later rescinded in 2022 due to Kubrick's alleged treatment of Duvall on set. Shelley Duvall was the actress.
Also known as olive oil from Popeye.
Yes, you're right. Good call.
She just recently died, too.
Did she really?
Yeah, I think a couple years ago.
Wow. The film has since been critically reappraised and is now often cited as one of the best horror films and one of the greatest films of all time. The film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant in 2018. A sequel titled Doctor Sleep, based on King's 2013 novel of the same name, was adapted to film and released in 2019. So, social relevance. If you've ever heard the phrase red rum, that's from The Shining. If you've ever heard here's Johnny, and not from the Johnny Carson show, that's from this movie. It's very relevant in, what's the word I'm looking for? Social relevance, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it's a classic. It's a super classic, and as realized by all of us a few weeks ago, I have never seen it still. But Donnie did just text me the other day and said that it's on Max if I want to watch it. So I'm going to have to soon. In The Shining, Jack Torrance, he only kills 2 people. A former hotel employee and a member of the hotel staff. He also does attempt to kill his wife, but fails in the movie. So there are only 2 kills. His kill count is 2, which might be the lowest on here. I mean, we have some technicalities that are at 0, but we're accrediting them with kills. So he has 2 kills total in the movie. There's not much more to say about him. So that he was a caretaker in a haunted hotel, and it caused him to go crazy. So, yeah, Lupe. I don't know if you have anything to add without doing research on it, because it was my research project, but there's literally not much to say.
Uh, so there was a paranormal aspect to the movie as well.
Oh, really?
Where it was like he was kind of losing his mind,
Mm.
and he would see things that weren't there and stuff like that. Kind of almost similar to like Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, from what I remember, it was a really good movie.
Yes. Very nice. So, your character.
So that has to go up against Ghostface. Ghostface was actually from the franchise Scream.
Yep.
6 movies, which I know that there's a 7th one coming. I don't know when it's gonna come out though. As far as well, let me just give you the briefing. He was the main antagonist in the Scream series, an identity rather than an actual person. There have been 7 people to assume the Ghostface mantle. A psychotic serial killer, he or she often dresses up as a variation of a ghost or a Grim Reaper. The name given to his costume in the film is Father Death. He also uses an electronic device to disguise his voice. When doing so, he is voiced by Roger L. Jackson. Ghostface is named after the rubber mask under which he hides his face, a mask inspired by the Edvard Munch painting The Scream. He is also known as the Woodsboro Killer, after the town where he commits his murders.
Yep.
Ghostface often calls his victims on the phone, taunting or threatening them before stabbing them to death with an 8-inch Bowie knife or killing them any other way. He is usually known for asking their victims horror film trivia while stalking them. All Ghostface people always die.
Yep.
Although Sydney never died.
She did not. But I haven't seen the most recent movies.
I didn't see the 5th one, but I did see the 6th one.
Oh, okay.
The 6th one was actually really good.
I think I've only seen 1, 2, and 3, so I haven't seen 4, 5, 6.
As far as kill counts, it says 60 to 70 plus kills, but actual confirmed kills are 53. That's not including random off-screen victims in flashbacks and on the subway in the 6th movie. I won't spoil too much for you. But and it was not just one individual killer. There were multiple in every movie. And the most famous, like, beginning of the very first movie when he calls Sydney and asks her what her favorite scary movie is.
What's your favorite scary movie, Sydney?
But yeah, I don't really know where to
Drew
go.
Barrymore dying in the first 10 minutes of the first movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
One of the most famous actresses at the time, and
then like okay, so there's the Scream movie came out, and then there was the whole the spoof Scary Movie by the Wayans brothers.
Yeah,
and that shit was hilarious when the very first one came out, and it was Ghostface. And was he in the second one too, or was it just the first one?
I don't know if I've watched all the scary movies.
Which Scary Movie was basically just kind of spoofing every scary movie that was relevant at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they were doing Scream. They were doing I don't even remember what movies they were doing. I just know they were spoofing a bunch of shit, and shit was funny as hell. But yeah, I'm fucking running out of steam myself,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm like,
I know one of this probably got a lot to talk about too, and we're just like 2 weeks in a row now. We're dying by the end.
yeah.
We got to start earlier for these kids and their softball. Scream also, there's a little bit of comedy to it. What's his name? He got famous because of these movies and started his own little show and everything. Became Malibu's Most Wanted. Jamie Kennedy.
Oh,
His character plays like almost like breaks the fourth wall, where the rules to a horror movie are this.
Mhm.
And then, in the second movie, if this is supposed to, like, he's talking like he knows what's going on, but he doesn't, like, say, breaking the fourth wall. So in order to survive this, the killer always does this: never say "I'll be right back," and then they do all this shit,
Right.
and never split up in the groups, and then there's got to be a love story, and there's got to be a plot twist, and the killer always jumps up. Like, all the shit he says is horror movie tropes that come true,
Uh-huh.
and it's just fucking crazy. It's insane. Like, Scream, the first three originals were ahead of their time with the way they did this shit. Like, they're good stuff, and that's what I think has led to Ghostface being so popular,
Yeah.
because our generation, again, even though I'm older than you, like, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, I was born in 78. They came out in 77 or 79 and 81, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I still say it was a generation before me that grew up with them. Scream was born in our time, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like Art to Clown is our time.
Right.
It's so, yeah, the Ghostface is just, he's huge, and the little bit of comedy built into it. The movies were done by Wes Craven, right? So Wes Craven's
Yeah.
fucking a horror genius when it comes to the
Oh,
way he
yeah.
makes movies.
R.I.P.
Oh yeah, and he was the originator behind the Freddy movies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Scream's just great. Again, if you I hate saying that. I've said it so many times. If you've watched it, you know that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we're assuming people
And then
have
I know
watched
you,
them.
you mentioned Jamie Kennedy and his show. Well, speaking of show, like Scream actually was a show on MTV after.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't think it lasted too long.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of changed up the mask, which I thought was dumb as hell. Like
Yeah.
the mask looked terrible. But I never seen any of the show, so
Nice.
I don't know how that
I
went.
never did either. But yeah, Scream, again, the original trilogy was written to be a trilogy, and now I wonder again, yeah, that Wes Craven died, if he had made plans for this, because from what I heard, he originally wrote it as a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it is. The whole story is being told in three parts, and that's what led to, again, Jamie Kennedy's character talking about, if this were a trilogy, this is what would happen right now, and then shit happens. If this is a sequel, this is how the killer would do this, and you need a plot twist, and someone from the past has got to, and all this shit he says, like I said, it's just crazy, because he's a horror movie buff in the series, so he uses what he knows about horror movies, and that's what's crazy. Like, it's a spoof on horror movies without being a spoof. It's a
Right.
serious one. I don't know. It's hard to describe it with how it works.
So, and like I said, that they had a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
They only had 3 seasons. The third season of Scream averaged a .23 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic and 474,000 viewers.
It's pretty low, 0.23.
Yeah, compared to season 2 on MTV, that's up by 18% and 26% respectively.
Wow.
Scream has been canceled, so there won't be a season 4. Womp womp.
So yeah, Scream's great. I need to watch them, the newer ones. I said I literally don't think I've seen 4, 5, or 6. I think I've seen the first 3, and that's it.
Yeah, the first 3 were amazing. The fourth one was good. Like I said, I don't know, maybe I didn't see the 4th and 5th, but I know I seen the 6th.
But yeah, the way the first one, again, Drew Barrymore, when this first came out, was huge. She was one of probably the most popular girl actresses out there.
Mm-hmm.
And to kill her in the first 10 minutes, you're like,
Right.
what the fuck is? Wait a minute, I thought she was gonna be the main character of the movie, and
Yeah.
nope, she's not.
So that's the mask. Yeah, it looks dumb as hell.
What the fuck?
Compared to the original.
It looks like someone is getting off from all. I think he's got his O face.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's twists and turns, and yes, it's a good movies. Good movies.
Yeah.
But yes, we are running out of steam.
We're
again.
tapped.
Listeners, sorry. 2 weeks in a row, you're going to get to the end of the episode and be like, what are these guys talking about? So before we drag it out any longer, Lupe, I think we need to call it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Thank you.
Vote on Facebook. We'll put the matchups from last week
Yeah,
up.
those will be up before you even hear this, so this
Yeah.
won't matter right now. But
And then we'll put these matchups as soon as we can too.
yeah, and then I think we have one more week of 4 to get through the first round. The first round will be over, and we move on to the second round.
Yeah. And then before we start a second round, I think we're gonna do an actual episode
Okay.
because I got something planned.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're telling me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you can find us on all your major podcast platforms,
Mm.
on Instagram at impulsivethoughts_pod.
On Facebook at Impulsive Thoughts on Facebook. YouTube, you can watch. Again, you think after 2 years I'd know it's either a black screen or our logo, but if YouTube's easier for you to listen and watch, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Don't worry about TikTok right now. We're working on some things to get maybe video going, some TikToks.
Yeah.
I know I haven't said this in a while, and if you've listened this long, if you haven't yet, but leave us a 4 or 5 star review, however stars it is. 5? Is it 5's the most? 4 the
5.
most? Leave us a review. Say something on there. Just I know sometimes it's a pain in the ass to do that shit, but I think that might get us more listens. Maybe tell your
Yeah.
friends, even if they haven't listened to us, to go just click 5 stars on us. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean,
It takes 30 seconds, guys, if that.
yeah, and yes, we're begging right now. And interact with us on Facebook. Leave some comments. Share your thoughts. Again, like, you guys are fucking morons. Jason would kill him. Even though we haven't covered Jason yet. But, leave your thoughts.
That'll be
next week.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah. Leave your thoughts. Leave your reason for what you voted, how you voted. Q did that on a few of his. Jesse did that on a few of his votes. Like, Alexis left, some of her comments.
Mm-hmm.
So it's awesome to see that feedback from you guys, to know that you're not just voting just because you're listening and thinking, okay, this is why I think this, So, anyways, that's my 2 cents.
But yeah, guys. I'm Lupe.
I'm Dan.
Joined here with Miss Dana.
Dano.
And we out this bitch. Always remember, don't believe everything you think.
Peace.
Illusions deceive, reality misconceive. Don't believe everything you think.